The following podcast contains spoilers and profanity. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Half and Half Podcast. I'm your host, Glum Walker, and with me as always is MarsReviews.
Hello, I'm gonna write my name inside the Death Note today.
Good luck with that.
I can't write.
We also have a special guest with us, our good friend Slayerrunes. Slay, tell us about yourself. Who are you?
I'm Slayerrunes, baby. I talk about animation on the internet.
Yeah.
A very prestigious field, might I add.
Very lucrative.
Very.
There
No one's doing it.
so many great people out there talking about animation.
Exactly.
Many great channels.
My favorite one is what's his face?
Lars Reviews?
Lars is pretty good.
Dude, MarsReviews is great.
But I like this one guy. He made like a great 73-part series on why Teen Titans Go needs to be canceled. I would suggest it to everyone.
Wait, is that a real thing?
No.
Because the problem is I can completely believe that that's an actual thing that, like, exists in this world now.
Like, he started when, like, the first episode came out, and, like, the 75th one's coming out, like, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, just the day before Teen Titans Go, like, came out, he was just, like, at his keyboard, like, oh, yeah, gonna get all the views with this one.
They're all
Right.
like Mr. Plinkett levels of like length, and they're like 73 of them.
I would watch that, actually, if it was well made.
And he has, like, a cheapo mic that he just, like, bought off of Amazon for, like, $16.
Teen Titans Go is the worst thing since my son.
Unlike my son's abortion, Teen Titans Go wasn't canceled. Okay, so today we're talking about the new Netflix original movie based on everyone's favorite Death Note.
It is everyone's favorite though.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
It is. As long as you go to Hot Topic, it's probably your favorite.
So what's your guys' history with Death Note in general?
I think the first time I watched Death Note, I think I was in, like, sophomore year of high school. Because it's just, like, kind of one of those things that, like, if you've watched anime, you've probably watched Death Note, unless, like, you're I guess, like, the exception to that rule. I mean, there's, like, that whole joke that the Super Best Friends podcast made of, like, you haven't seen Death Note? I think the reason why I sat down and watched it was, who was the one person on, that was with that guy with the glasses that talked about anime? Like, the girl who's now transgender?
Jess Utaku.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
her.
her.
Yeah, fucking her. I remember.
Is she
her
wait,
for that.
she's not transgender, is she?
Yeah, she's a guy now.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I think like a year ago she or he came out of the closet.
That's
so.
two transgenders out of that guy with the glasses. How progressive.
Damn.
Yeah. But yeah, like I remember he made an episode about Death Note, and like from that, like I decided I was like, you know what? Everyone talks about this. I should watch it, and then I watched it, and I really enjoyed half of it.
Like everyone else. They
Yeah,
enjoyed half of
Like
it.
everyone else. But yeah, and then I got a few of my friends to watch it, and every now and again I go back and I watch an episode or two. But I guess that's like the most I've ever done with it. Like I've never been like overly like infatuated with it to like the degree of like buying a Death Note and being like, man, I wish I had my own Death Note so I could rid the streets of evil.
I remember there was a big phenomenon with people owning Death Notes and going to school and writing their teachers' names. That even like happened when I was like in class.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Like, did you have people in your school who did that?
Someone write your name in the Death Note?
Yeah. I had
Did
a
they
kid
burn the
who-
page at the last minute?
He didn't get in trouble for it, but I know he had a Death Note, and I just know a bunch of kids like around America when it was coming out, they just kept getting Death Notes, and they were right. Some kid got busted for it. It was a big kind of controversy with it.
It's a good thing. I remember I went to Hot Topic at one point. I remember I saw a Death Note there, and I actually contemplated buying one.
I didn't have Death Notes because I was like too lame, so I got like a little Zatch Bell book.
That's
I was
better.
like, it's a better series, a better book. It was actually a better looking book. I don't know. My relationship with Death Note was that it was just like, I was a huge anime guy, but I haven't seen Death Note. I was like, what the fuck? So, and I would just see all these memes of like, I'll take a potato chip and eat it. And like,
wow.
and like the memes of like, someone made like Kira, they made it into a meme of like Kira fried chicken. I just kind of went like, oh, well, I watched all this other garbage. Might as well just pile it up, and it wasn't garbage. I was like, whoa, this is actually pretty cool. I like these. I saw a bunch of like homosexual like fetish art all over the internet as well. So
There's
like,
a lot of it.
So why not just indulge in some Death Note?
Yeah, of course.
Public opinion didn't betray me this time.
Wow. All right. Well, my relationship with Death Note is that I actually didn't even know about the series for a while. The only reason I even knew about it was because of I watched the Smosh parody and I didn't know what it was for, and I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome. This concept of writing people's names in this book and them dying. What is it for? It's like, oh, it's an anime.
Glenn, I'm gonna be honest. When you said you didn't know about it, I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, I didn't know about this like show until I heard the movie was coming out.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But no, yeah, really, it was like one of the really the first like anime like I actually like really got into. Like, yeah, I watched Toonami as a kid, but it was like, oh, I watched like the entire series when like YouTube had every single episode on there.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, remember when you can watch like full movies on YouTube in parts?
I wish.
I think that's how I watched Death
I
Note.
think most people watched it through like fan subs. Like Death Note was like a real big big show for like illegal streaming, because people will go like, oh man, I remember the yellow subs days where like I would just watch Death Note with these shitty subs.
All right, so why don't we go through the actors of this film and just go through them one by one, and you can really just tell how you thought they did.
Wait, there were actors in this film?
There was one who was there, but he was only there in spirit and voiceover.
Oh.
I mean, they used facial capture on him,
I guess.
which I don't know why they did.
Especially when you didn't get to see. Oh, we'll get to that. All right. All right. So first up, the best actor in the movie, Nat Wolff. He played Light Turner.
He was in the Naked Brothers band.
Wait, is he from the Naked Brothers band?
He is from the Naked Brothers band. That's the one fact everyone knows about him. Like, no one knows who the fuck this kid is, but he's in the Naked Brothers band. He's been in nothing else except for maybe Paper Towns.
Oh, and everyone loved that movie.
Yeah.
This dude is so this guy is garbage. Like, I don't know whether or not it's like the director of this. People were saying, oh, he's pretty good. But like, I don't know why. Either it's just the director being really garbage, or it's Nate Wolff just not being able to act. Cause like he just like in every single like scene he makes like a stupid fucking face.
Yeah.
He does. I love the scene where like his dad is talking to him about Kira, and he's like, when you're talking to someone like Kira, you know they're sitting across from you. And then like the entire scene, Light just keeps making these like weird faces, and he's like saying things that it's just like he sounds weirdly defensive and like hostile. And it's like, either his dad is too stupid to be like, is something wrong? You're acting really weird, or just like he's just terrible at acting.
That was the one thing that Light could really do well, very surprisingly well in the original anime. It was just keep his composure at any moment.
Yeah, and that is not
like he just
present
gives
here.
up.
In the anime, he's super smart, but you know how they showed in the movie was that he's cheating and doing other people's homework for them.
I was honestly fine with that.
I don't know. I feel like that's a waste of his talent. It's like,
No, there's speaking of that, there was a really funny like Twitter video of a guy, like he was watching it and he looked at the actual pages. He didn't even finish the fucking page. In fact, it's like he's an actual like I think he was actually doing the math, and he was like, "You got these
you have to
fucking
solve for
wrong.
X.
Solve for X? What?
That's great. I don't know, like, I personally wasn't bothered by the whole, like, he does other people's homework, because it was a quick and easy way to, like, show that he's really smart.
They didn't elaborate on it. Like, that never came back.
No, you could have just, like,
him being
just did, like, in the original one, where, like, they barely anything about his education at all. Like, the only thing that played a part in in the original anime was that through a piece of exposition just told him like, oh, he's the top of his class. He answers some questions in class. He doesn't do other kids' homework.
Like, the thing of Light being smart is super important to Light's character. Like, because it's part of one of the major reasons why he has this whole big idea of himself, that he's like this person who's above others, who's just great and amazing. And like, that works in the anime, and that's also paired up with the fact that like his dad is the chief of police, and over in Japan, like, the police are really highly regarded, so that's another pedestal for him to stand up on. And it's like those two things combined are what make Light who he is. And in this, his father is the chief of police, but Light resents him for
Exactly.
that for stupid reasons, because Light's issues aren't like the society that creates him. It's that he has a dead mom and he has mommy issues, and
Which
that's
were
his
not
problem.
existent at all. He had a sister as well too.
Like for me, I'm when I watched the movie, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna completely ignore the anime. Anything that happened in the anime, I'm gonna ignore that. And the writing decision to like just not have a sister character, I was like, okay, whatever. And not having a mom character, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. That's stupid, but it cuts down on one less character you have to focus on and one less relationship you have to focus on.
One less paycheck you have to cut.
Yeah, one less paycheck. But like the problem with that though is like him having mommy issues just doesn't. It's just like it feels so flimsy, and I guess that's the best way to describe Light Turner. Is he's just a flimsy character. There's nothing about him that like screams this person who's aiming to become God. Like it's, I don't know, his character was weak. He was uninteresting. He whines a lot. Half his character is either whining or being like, I'm gonna kill people because I'm gonna get some ladies if I kill people.
I'm gonna kill all those bullies with my Death Note. Fuck you, bullies.
Yeah, literally, like the first like lines he has is just like stepping up to this bully, but he comes off as like such an ass, and it's just like
He's not even an ass, just a bitch. It just goes like, oh, if you punch me, this child abuse because you're 18.
The first line in the movie, and I only remember this because whenever I watched the movie, about like an hour before I started watching the movie, I wrote down a prediction list of 37 plus 1 predictions. And my first prediction was that the first thing he was gonna say would sound like something from a Hot Topic t-shirt. I mixed on this one because the first line he says is "Get away from her."
I can see that on a
which I mean,
t-shirt.
I guess I could see that on there. Personally, though, I felt the third line, which is the one where he's like, "That would be child abuse," it was a better one, but
I mean, it's still pretty up there.
Another thing about Light's character was that he was basically a god before he even got the Death Note, because he was the coolest kid in school. He was a handsome young boy. He was smart. So, like, he had nothing to worry about. That's another reason what gave him his god complex, because everyone thought he was perfect.
yeah.
Like, in every category. He was even played
Yeah.
sports. He was good at fucking soccer in one episode. He could play tennis. They spent an entire episode
Prince
where
of
he's really
tennis.
good at tennis.
He exactly was, because he's wearing, like, almost the same exact uniform as the kid from Prince of Tennis.
We might as well get into the love interest characters since we were talking about like the first scene.
Yeah, Misa.
Mia now, not Misa.
Margaret Qualley.
Everyone thought, because she was, like, really terrible in the movie, everyone thought that she was a Disney Channel actor.
She kind of
Yeah.
looks like one. Literally, there's one shot of her because just partially because of the camera work of this movie, which is god awful. There's like one scene where they're sitting in class and she literally looks like Belle from the Twilight series.
That's what
or
I was
Bella.
getting too.
Yeah, this did have that vibe to it.
She just wasn't as pale.
Yeah.
I mean, they did like a complete contrast to the character from like the actual anime, which is like I was fine with. People found her like really annoying. I remember.
What, in the original anime?
Yeah, but so the character Misa in the anime was like kind of like this bubbly, kind of like, you know,
Ditzy.
her heads were in the clouds.
Yeah, she's a pawn for Light. That's her main purpose, is to be a pawn for Light so they can use her because she's in love with him and he's pretty much like, dude, I don't care about sex. I just want to become
Pretty
God
much
at this
just play
point."
role reversal with them in this movie. Like, she does more Kira shit than Light at all, and Light's like a dumb idiot that's like in love.
Yeah, because there's this whole thing where she's like, she's like, oh yeah, that bully Kenny, he got decapitated the other day. I wish I could have seen it. And then he's like, well, I saw it. And she's like, she gets all hot and bothered. She's like, ooh, tell me more. The movie isn't very well thought out when it comes to things like that, and there's some later plot points that just don't make sense at all.
But Misa's like, basically she's Light, but like with a vagina.
She's super edgy. She's like in the first
Yeah.
shot, she's smoking a cigarette, even though she doesn't smoke throughout the entire movie.
No.
She doesn't smoke throughout the entire movie. You're right. That's how you know she's brooding and edgy. Outside of the fact that it's super dark and the camera filter is
the
terrible.
saturation's turned all the way down.
I mean, it is Seattle.
She's
so.
on the cheer squad as well. We don't see that. I mean, it doesn't mean anything at all anywhere else in the movie as well.
She does bring up later where she's just like, nothing in my life has mattered up until this point. I'm a cheerleader. That means nothing. We're gonna become God.
And
We're gonna change the world. Which was another one of my predictions that someone would say.
Then they start
something like
fucking
that.
each other while Light is playing on his Alienware laptop.
Yeah, what the fuck?
They have an Alienware
Why did he have an alien? Why does he have
And
this
then he-
21-pound laptop in his book bag? Is he gonna game during
Product
class?
placement, I guess.
Like, if they're gonna... One thing that pissed me off, like, the biggest thing in the movie was that, they have advertisements, for, like, Alienware and Dell in this movie, but they fucked up the most important thing they could get, like, a real big, like, sponsor to sponsor this movie, is that they forgot to put in the fucking I'll take a potato chip and eat it scene in this entire movie. They could have got, like, fucking Fritos or Lay's to come in and go, like, hey, we got you for this. They didn't do that at all.
Honestly, I wasn't expecting them to do any of those things.
neither was I.
Because, like,
meme, though.
because I don't think it's great because like that's part of Death Note's humor. Death Note is a very funny series and it's intentionally funny. And I think a lot of people who watch Death Note don't understand the fact that that's supposed to be funny because they're like, haha, it's funny ironically. Well, it's like no, it's over dramatization. That's the humor of Death Note. It's supposed to be over the top and weird and overly dramatic, and that's why it's funny. And I didn't expect the movie to do that at all. I didn't expect the movie to get that at all. Because the movie, just from the trailers alone, looked like it was going for an edgy and darker, like, tone. Because, yeah, I guess Death Note has edge to it, the show and the manga, but, like, it's there to
it's
be
more like
comedic.
ironic in that sense.
But I wanted it so badly,
And-
though. Like,
It would have been great, but...
yeah, just
it'd
what
be
they were
stupid.
making.
It'd be stupid,
Yeah.
but it'd be like, this would be the one thing you could give to fans other than this shitty movie.
Alright, well, since we're on the topic of food, we'll talk about Keith Stanfield, who played L.
He was fine.
He was actually he was acting his ass off in this shitty movie, like, for no reason.
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's the one scene when they're in the diner. It's like the only good part of like, or not like the only good part, but it's like one of the best parts of him being in the movie is just like that scene. Cause it's just like there's that whole line where like he's talking to Light and he's like, "You're the one who flew into the sun. I'm just here to make sure you burn up." And like that line was actually pretty neat.
But the scene itself was just like, you have Light saying like, "Yes, I'm Kira. I'm basically Kira. Can everyone in this diner know that I am Kira?"
Yeah, I agree. Like that was stupid, but L was cool in that scene at least. He at least acted and said some really interesting and neat things.
He added little attributes to the character, like sitting weird and eating jelly beans.
Yeah, that was cool. The funniest part is when he's like in the police station where he's like eating ice cream and the ice cream looks exactly like the one in the show.
Yeah, it does. The green ice cream. Yeah, and Watanabe was like a weirdly big part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that's like L's like right hand man. All right. Since we're done with, what'd you guys actually think of like L as like the way they represented him in this? Because like he was like had like a mask on. It was kind of looked like watchdogs.
Wishy-washy. Like, if we're talking about how he looked, I thought he looked cool, but like his actual character was wishy-washy because he would do L type tendencies and L things, like a sitting thing, but then it would just get like, L would never walk inside he wouldn't walk inside Light's actual home unannounced and just literally almost assault him in front of his fucking dad. 2, he wouldn't carry a gun around. I don't think he would use a gun. He wouldn't.
No, he says earlier in the movie that he doesn't carry around a gun because
It is
it's
distracting because it's the weirdest looking gun in the world. It glows.
Yeah, it looks like the fucking Blade Runner gun.
it is. Yeah, I was like, what is this weird sci-fi gun?
Well, we need to get to that. Okay.
But I don't know. I personally wasn't bothered by like L breaking into his house like unannounced, because like, one, this is obviously a different character than the one from the anime, and secondly, like, he's emotionally charged, and it makes sense why he's as emotionally charged as he is in that moment. Why, like, he like, that calm that he's been the entire movie is now broken. Like, I was honestly not too bothered by that.
That one bothered me. I was bothered when he was running down the street.
Yeah, the chase scene.
That one was when he pushed the guy into his soup. I was like, wait, why did you do that?
Why? He had it clear enough. He's clear enough to run straight. Pushing him into his soup did nothing.
I was also surprised though that, like, you know, the whole phone thing that L does,
where he holds it up with like from
like
the top.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised that not once did they do that with a smartphone. I was really expecting to see that goofy, stupid imagery of him doing that with a smartphone, and they didn't
I feel
do
like
it
if I
once.
did that in real life, people would think like I'm like a sociopath. I'm gonna start trying to do that.
Probably.
I'll try and do that too.
It's really awkward.
It's really heavy because like smartphones got heavier, so I bet if he did that, it'd be really funny if he was doing that and he actually dropped it.
I mean, like, doing the whole sitting thing would probably hurt your knees too, so.
He says he does it because if he sits normally, he'll lose 40% of his deduction points or something.
He's just some weird Dungeons and Dragons character.
Last but not least, we have the greatest man, Willem Dafoe, as Ryuk, the voice.
God.
What'd you guys think of this?
Great casting. I liked him in the.
Yeah, great casting. His voice was perfect for the role.
The beginning, when like I first heard it, was kind of like weird because it sounded too clean. It was like, oh, I couldn't hear this is like obviously like recorded. They should have blended in the audio just a bit, but it got better over time.
Like, this movie is like kind of like a train wreck, but there is actually like a legit really cool scene in Ryuk where he's like hey, Light's like being really lame, going like, Ryuk, you do what I tell you, or I'm gonna write your name in a death note. And he's like, well, a person already tried that. I may have 4 letters in my name.
Yeah, he's like, the most anyone's ever gotten to was 2.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
Oh, that was actually really good.
That was the problem with that though, and there's a really big problem with that. Is Ryuk's motivation in the entire movie doesn't make sense.
No.
Because he doesn't have motivation. Like, to go back to the anime real quick, and there's a big thing with this that also bothers me. Like, Ryuk's entire motivation in the anime in the manga is like, I'm bored, and I'm just gonna throw this death note here, see who picks it up, and I'm just gonna roll with it.
Exactly.
Whereas in this movie, he openly admits, he's like, yeah, I chose you, Light. I could give it to anyone else if you want me to. I gave it to you, and it's like, okay, so Light is the chosen one in this one, which automatically is a weird like way to stray from the source material, where the whole point is like, yeah, Light just happened to be the one who picked it up. He wasn't destined to. Anyone else was equally as likely to get the book as him, and that's part of the reason why it makes it so interesting and Ryuk's so interesting. But in this, he's just like, yeah, I gave it to you because someone has to have the book. Ha ha ha. And then he weirdly becomes antagonistic towards Light for most of the movie.
That's the thing. Like, in the anime, he didn't really interfere with what Light was doing. He was just an onlooker who was like, I'm bored. I want to see what happens if I did this.
He was
he was
very neutral.
Literally in the movie, he, like, fucks with Light and like does things he doesn't like.
Yeah, like he actively goes against Light and does actions that go against Light for no reason other than because he can. And there's no motivation to it. There's no reason for it. And I think that's why Ryuk just feels so weak in this movie, despite the fact that his casting is so great.
Like, he was like neutral in the anime, but in some moments I could feel like some camaraderie between them. Like, there's like an episode where like Light's like, hey, we're like wiretapped in our room. Can you like, I'll give you apples if you come like look for them.
Yeah.
There was like they're not like best friends, but they're like, oh, they have like a certain level of like respect or like, you know, companionship.
They're like roommates.
Yeah. He even says that he's a roommate.
What'd you guys think of his look and how he was literally always in the shadows?
Yeah, that was another one of my predictions, is that he wasn't gonna be like out in the open like he is in like the manga and anime, where he's just like actively just floating behind Light, and he looks goofy, but that's just the point.
They cover him up because they know the CG is really, really shit.
I agree with that, and it's also probably because they're like, oh, we want him to be like dark and brooding and like a monster.
Ryuk is like, yeah, that's one of the things about Ryuk was that he may be like kind of like monstrous, but he kind of like in like the adorable like monstrosity that I don't know. He's just like really adorable, even though he's like you can say he's ugly.
They make little chibi action figures of him.
Yeah, I thought it was just because like Misa also got a Death Note. I thought she would also get like the other Shinigami.
Yeah.
But
she didn't.
Grell,
Yeah, Grell.
the mummy looking one.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I thought L would like it strays away, which it's like fine, but it was like, oh, I was like, kind of expecting this.
I'm surprised they didn't do the thing like in the anime. Literally just touching the Death Note would let you see Ryuk and stuff.
Yeah,
like
they
that.
didn't do that because she grabs it and then he's like, yeah, only I can see
I
him.
feel like they could have added some stuff.
Yeah, there were some weird rule changes that, like, I don't know, they felt kind of weird and contrived. Like, they change it from, you can, like, burning a page will stop someone from dying because of the Death Note, to, yeah, you can only burn one page. It's like, wait, why? Why only one page?
Why would I waste all this paper I can write names on just to save one person?
Yeah, that's stupid.
Oh,
And that
alright.
becomes a plot point.
Alright, we should probably actually get into like the actual plot. Alright, so this film starts out. It starts out in a nice slow motion shot with like new agey music playing. You see Light, he's doing other people's homework for him. Doesn't answer all the problems for him, even though he just gives it back to them.
He gives them the wrong answers.
Oh, I could see him doing that actually.
He gets bullied.
Should have did that to the bully character. Yeah, like literally the first part is just like Mia getting like harassed by these bullies for no reason, and Light's like, "Oh, leave her alone."
Leave her alone.
And he's being like, oh, all sorts of edgy, like, oh, you can't hit me because, you know, you're 18, and that would be like a child harassment thing. And he just gets decked. And,
You know, you could have told your dad about that. He's an actual police officer.
but like the next scene is him talking to the principals, like, oh, you're in trouble because, you know, you did all these kids' homework. It's like, I just got beaten up.
I like how they address that. Like, it just doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, well, you got your ass beat, but you're a fucking cheater.
It's like, oh, you know, you have the power to stop these children, right? Like, oh, you know.
You know, I have proof of that them beating me up. My eye is literally swollen.
And
Why
they're
am I
like-
in detention? Why did that kid not get any sort of repercussions for it at all? Like, it,
Did get repercussions from it, from Light.
Yeah, but it's stupid, yeah, because, like, the one teacher's like, well, I saw you run into a pole. It's like, why are you so actively, like, out for this kid for just, like, doing other people's homework?
cheating is worse than bullying.
Apparently.
So there's this thing. Lights. I guess he sees this before. Even I don't know. He has the Death Note, and then Ryuk comes out in like a little arts and craft room.
He's in detention, and like all of a sudden Ryuk comes in, but it's I don't know. It feels so out of place, but like because all like the papers and tables and shelves, they all fall over, or the room becomes a mess. Light's screaming his head off, which
Screaming
is,
like a bitch. Like,
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
It's so good.
It's the funniest part of the movie. That's how I
And
knew this movie was gonna be garbage. Just
I know
from
we've
that one
been
scene.
we've been comparing and contrasting the anime.
I mean, what do you want me to compare it to? Like, it's literally it has the same name, same characters.
It's so different in the sense that like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because it's just like it feels like the movie, like the remake of Poltergeist for some reason. It's just like, oh, why? But in the anime, Ryuk just kind of shows up, just like, hey.
Yeah, he
Like
shows-
Light kind of he freaks out a little bit. He's like, oh shit, do you exist? But like in here, it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna fuck up this entire classroom, which never gets like resolved. Like the
Yeah.
classroom just gets messed up, and like that never like comes into play ever again.
Yeah, I love because he gets like 2 weeks of detention, and the lady's like, if you fall asleep, I'll be right back. But
It's
if you
another
fall asleep,
day.
It's another day of detention.
What if
And
you
then
destroy a classroom? That's like another like 3 months.
But it never comes back.
Yeah,
they never mention it.
address that. That's so big. Like imagine if you just like you didn't even fuck it up, but you were the only person in a classroom, and then the teacher comes back in detention, and like literally all the shelves and books, there's glass on the floor.
Or
This is like right after a kid got decapitated. Oh, that's another thing.
You
okay,
can actually make a comparison, like, oh, the classroom's fucked up. There's one person in here, and a kid's decapitated. I wonder who possibly is the suspect.
Okay, so this is another thing. In the anime, the first person like Light kills literally is like a rapist who's trying to rape a woman right outside the door of like a convenience store he's at. It's like, oh, might as well test this out.
It wasn't the first one, but
it was like one of the first ones. It was like the major one.
Yeah.
But like it's still like literally in the anime, Light was trying to like, okay, I'll test it out on this literal criminal who's like has these people hostage.
Yeah, he punished criminals. He didn't punish bullies.
Yeah, literally the first person he kills in this movie is just the bully at the beginning who punched him in the face because he was being an ass.
Well, he doesn't do it because of that. He does it because Ryuk tells him to. Like, that's part of it, but Ryuk's like, why don't you go ahead and write Kenny's name in the book?
Oh yeah, because the bully's harassing this girl outside the window, literally right in front of school campuses, which is not smart.
They're beating her ass. It's really funny. It's just like they're just beating up this girl in front of the school, and it's just like, I know like public schools are like really shitty, but like I'm pretty sure there's like a security camera, a security guard, or something. Like, you know, you can't just beat up girls.
They wouldn't just let you do that.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, Light writes his name in the book, and then these people drop their basketball in the street, which makes a car with a ladder on it slam into the guy's face, and he gets decapitated.
That was like the sharpest ladder ever, because
Yeah.
it cleanly cuts off like the top part of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, a ladder is like, it's not, yeah, it wouldn't be that sharp. If anything, it would just like give him a concussion and he died. That would make more sense.
That would. But yeah, that happens. I mean, I guess it's because he wrote decapitation there, but it's just like, I guess.
It would have to have more force behind it, though.
Yeah, the car would need to be like speeding or something.
And plus, it would like flip. If you think about like the physics, I think if it was fly off, it wouldn't fly straight at him. It would fly like kind of like flipping around. It would just smash him in the head.
Which could look cool if it decapitated him, but that I don't know.
Literally cut through him like fucking butter.
Yeah, it was something out of Final Destination, like the guy who got the log to the face.
But that's also like part of the thing, though. It's like that's like the start of like the deaths in the movie, but like throughout the entire movie, there's no consistent way that like Light kills people. And he's like, he's trying to basically create an identity for himself through most of the movie, but he doesn't like have a signature style of killing, so it's just kind of weird. And it's one of those deviations from the like the show, where it's like, it feels like they basically just did it because they're like, we want to have like all these cool, edgy ways to kill off people.
Oh.
Like the guy, like he killed Kim Jong-un, I guess.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So. We'll get, but like literally, like the second person he kills is like the guy who like accidentally ran over his mother, wasn't it? It was like
it's like this mafioso guy.
Yeah.
He death by steak knife.
It looked really bad because of like the lighting in it looked like orange, so it looked like he was just bleeding out like orange tang.
Whenever like he first like stabs himself because a waiter bumps into him, basically, I was so confused. I was like, wait, did the waiter stab him in the back with like a wine glass?
No, and then slipped on some salt, and he like, oh, I stabbed myself in the neck because I hold my knife like a fucking idiot.
If I know the mafia, like that guy, that waiter's dead, dude. Light inadvertently killed that waiter.
Basically. But yeah, like what idiot holds their steak knife like that?
Yeah, where does he stab himself?
He stabs himself in the jugular. Because he's like holding his steak knife like towards himself for some stupid reason, rather than holding it downwards like a normal human being.
He's like holding like his fork and his knife like right next to each other, like how you see like when a person's getting prepared for a meal, like a cartoon.
But then Light talks to Mia for like the first time, and she's like, "Oh, do you want to see something cool? I can kill people."
Hey, look at my death note. It's pretty cool, right? Wanna fuck?
She's like, no, that's not real. And then they go on TV. They watch a live stream
on his Alienware laptop.
Yeah, and then he's like, watch me do this. And then
they leave class to go do this, and like I don't think you can just leave class like that in high school.
They just go to the most open area possible, the lunchroom. For some reason,
which is like really, really empty.
Yeah, it's really empty for some reason, and great idea, like going to the most open space possible where anyone could just overhear you because this room is echoey as all get out.
And there's a bunch of fucking cameras all over the place because like most lunchrooms.
And he's like, watch me do this, and it's like this guy who's holding up a bank and his wife hostage, and he's like he's got an assault rifle, and then he walks outside and he writes a thing down, and the guy walks into the street, salutes the SWAT team, they're pointing guns at him, and then gets hit by a SWAT van.
So basically Mia's like, whoa, you're really cool, you kill people, I'm not freaked out at all. So they start like having sex and stuff because he thinks Light's cool, and they start killing people like it's like
there's
a
this
date.
whole montage of him killing people. He kills this like Asian dictator.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Take that, Kim Jong-un.
Who like literally his head explodes because of the voltage of like an amp, I guess.
Yeah, he holds onto like a battery and electrocutes himself to death.
Just
All while like clips
Yeah.
of him and Mia making out and having sex on top of the Death
and like
Note
you
are,
see
like,
you see these
spliced in.
people who are like, oh, Kira saves everyone. He's awesome.
That's the other weird deviation is like Light chooses the name Kira instead
But it
of
makes no
like
sense.
yeah he's like it's like from Norse mythology and Greek.
It means light in Dutch or whatever.
Yeah, Dutch mythology or not mythology
Not
but
Dutch.
like
Go
yeah.
Fact
through it.
check that.
yeah, like it's stupid though because like yeah in the anime and the manga like he doesn't come up with a name, he's given the name because like he doesn't initially think of himself like as a god, like maybe in the back of his head he does, but like he isn't actively trying to be god at first, but then like all these people like give him a name and they start like praising him, and then he's like, well, I guess I could be god.
He's like Kanye. I am a god. They should have played that. They should have played that when he was like doing the montage. It would make
Yeah,
more
they
sense.
were just playing these random new agey music. This whole film soundtrack was just kind of.
It's kind of
Yeah.
awful. They were like they kept having this synth 80s shit, and they would like one of the scenes at the end where it just doesn't work because it's super pretentious.
I was gonna say it's a mix of synth music that I honestly thought was gonna become dubstep at one point, but like it never did.
Yeah.
And weirdly like slow love songs.
Yeah, that was weird.
They played
They
a
put-
lot of love songs.
They put
Didn't fit
dubstep
the
in this
tone at
movie.
all.
It would like put it over the top as like the best anime film of all time.
I mean, hey, it's the best anime film I've seen since Ghost in the Shell, so
Oh yeah.
But you think it's better than Ghost in the Shell?
definitely better than Ghost in the Shell.
I've only
Wow.
seen the first 15 minutes of Ghost in the Shell, but at least I will say like I don't know, it looks better like visually.
Oh no, definitely. Like the Ghost in the Shell movie is definitely better looking. Like Neo Tokyo in the Ghost in the Shell movie looks great. It's a really great design, but comparing the movies, Death Note was like more competently written, I would say, which isn't really saying much, but
Yeah. But I don't know. I'll have to see that, and I'll see which one's better. All right, where are we now?
Yeah, so like I think right after this montage, we're introduced to the character L, who's this investigative person.
And he's black.
he's
Yeah.
black.
Unlike when he's super white in the anime.
Yeah, because he never goes outside.
He was from
Yeah.
England, so it made more sense. I think he was raised in England. And he's like, I'm gonna find you, Kira, and then he narrows it down to like, oh, you're
Seattle,
you're
yeah.
yeah.
Which is like, I don't know. I feel like that was better done in the anime.
No, the thing was in the anime, they had an actual reason why he picked Japan, because it was like he baited him, like, okay, we're gonna take this convict that's about to be executed, who
We'll
and
say
this-
he's me.
and put
We'll
it in
broadcast
like,
it
Japanese-
only in Japan. And like, okay, well, we'll narrow it down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he narrowed out what region it is, and it's the most populated region, so it gives him a little bit of like, okay, not to worry.
And that really fucks with Light. And he's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, because he
God
narrows it
damn
down to the Kanto region.
He
Yeah.
narrowed it down to to Ash Ketchum's region.
It's the only reason I remember that he lives in the Kanto region is because Pokemon.
Oh, we're gonna get you, Ash.
But yeah, but they still do like the whole press conference thing in the movie, but they don't do it with a fake L. They do it with
a real
actual
L.
which was really stupid because he's like still wearing the mask, but it's like, dude, I can see your eyes, I can hear your voice clearly, which is another weird thing. He doesn't do like the whole like voice modifier thing.
No.
It's like, wow, L, you're really good at hiding your identity. No one knows who you are, but you actively just walk out in public and don't even do anything to mask your voice.
I was surprised people were taking that seriously, because would you take it seriously if it's just a masked man like just walked to town hall and was giving a press conference?
I would think he's part of ISIS if he did that.
I would think he was part of like a publicity stunt, like Daft Punk or something.
The one thing that was like really like a big part of like L and his like at the start of the show, it was that like no one knew what he looked like, and when they actually did, it was like a big kind of thing. It says like,
yeah.
you earned my trust.
Like, I don't expect this person to like be this super genius who's like this scrawny looking teenager guy looking.
Who eats like cake all
Who
the
has
time.
who has no fucking shoes on, even when he went to the.
And he sits weird, and he just
went
eats
to the-
junk food.
That was really funny. I think even in like when they were playing tennis, or when he was in the Japanese placement test thing, he was wearing no shoes.
Yeah, he doesn't wear shoes at all, like during the entire show, and yeah, but in this one he wears shoes. So
I don't know.
So
I don't know if he was wearing shoes during the tennis match, but that must have hurt.
I'm pretty certain he doesn't wear shoes during the tennis match.
he's like Radical Edward in Bebop. Perfect. But yeah, so L narrows down the search to Seattle, and then like he becomes friends with the police chief, and then it's like, oh, I think your son. I possibly think your son's Kira.
He's like, well, I know that someone within this police station is Kira, because they have to have access to all these things, but like, I don't think like once Light ever even uses any of like his far as police connections.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything to do with the police, even like that was a big part of the show.
And
Still.
then like after that, people in the police force start dying. Like there's this whole thing from The Happening where like a bunch of the officers just jump off a building.
Yeah, the FBI agents that L sends out to like follow everyone, including Light, because he's like, well, he's your son, so I have reason to suspect him too. And it's basically like the same thing that happened in the anime, except way less interesting because Light doesn't kill them off.
It was Ryuk, wasn't
Well,
it?
they initially blame Ryuk, and he's still partially to blame, but then we find out later it's like, uh-oh, it was actually Mia, because Ryuk was like, hey, Mia, you should kill these people off because it'll be more interesting.
But then after that, L meets Light for the first time in like the diner.
Yeah, and he's like, I know you're Kira. And then Light's like, what? I'm not Kira.
He really isn't smooth about it. It's just like oh, how would you know? Like, oh.
It's because like Light in this movie isn't smart, even though the beginning of the movie tries to make him out to be smart, but
he
nothing
doesn't even
does.
He doesn't even try to like conceal it really.
No, he doesn't try at all.
What if he's wearing a body cam? You're fucked then.
He doesn't even try to hide the Death Note.
Yeah, and like he doesn't even try to like oh, it could have been like a network of people. That's Kira. It's probably, how do you know it's just one person?
That would have been better.
Yeah, then he starts throwing all these theoreticals, but they're like so specifically, like just so specific. It's like, why are you even saying these things? Because you're basically admitting right now that you are Kira, and even L is like, so you're basically saying you're Kira. It's so stupid because it misses out on one of the most interesting like facets of the original Death Note, which is this back and forth action between Light and L, which is what like that whole tennis thing is supposed to represent, is how it's a game of back and forth between the two.
Yeah,
and
because the characters meet
and
the characters meet and they have to like interact with one another, and literally like L suspects he's Kira, but like okay, but Light actually does smart things to like try and ward him off, like literally got to the point where like he like renounces his ownership of the Death Note and like literally loses memory of it.
Yeah, and that's like super interesting and cool, and I can understand why they didn't do that whole thing, because it's like that's like It's so much to try to cram into this movie.
Yeah, because that was multiple episodes of that.
But
Yeah.
it's like, first off, was this a movie that needed to be made? No, because
Even
was-
even the actual Japanese movies are better.
and those movies are bad.
And they
Yeah.
have a way lower budget.
Yeah.
I
But,
bet
like-
Ryuk looked better in that one too. He looked more
did.
goofy.
Yeah, he was goofy.
Because like the anime itself is already like cut down. It's like it's a cut down version of a whole lot of chapters of a manga. And then trying to cut that even further down into a full movie, a full 100-minute movie is ridiculous. Like there was no way they'd possibly be able to do it while keeping like certain plot points. And I can understand certain ones they removed, but like there's just some decisions that are baffling.
But yeah, then after this, there's the whole scene where Light's like, "Oh, I'm gonna use L's right-hand man to find out who his real name is."
Yeah.
Ryuk like made him do that.
No, Light does it, but like, he has Watanabe do it. He's like, my plan is I'm gonna have Watanabe because he can control people up to like 2 days before their death, and he's like, I'm gonna have Watanabe go back to the mansion, which in this version is closed. Which whatever, that's a fine enough decision because I guess they don't want to do M and N, but like. For some reason, even though it's closed, they still keep all the records there, including
that doesn't make
L's
any
identity.
sense.
So it's like, yeah, why do that? Especially since like the SWAT team was able to find out where he was anyways.
If that's where his records are being kept, how does L like pay for stuff? How does he like have like a social security number? If, like, he keep literally all his records. Like, I mean, can you like cash a check out to L? Can L pay taxes?
I think he only pays in he gets paid in cash.
Yeah.
How does he? Oh, I wouldn't trust the man who like. Oh.
I don't know. It's stupid. And then like L's like, but once Watanabe gets the information, I'll burn his page. But then
You didn't say how it would die.
Well, no, he's like dealer's choice.
And then
Yeah.
Ryuk's
Ryuk's like, ooh, I'm gonna have the SWAT team kill him. And it's so stupid. And
Then they go to the homecoming dance.
they go to Spider-Man Homecoming.
also, is there ever like a single flake of snow in the entire movie?
No.
Because this is Winter Homecoming, and I can swear that I
What the
never saw
fuck? How?
like one.
How? How do you do
Oh, that's
that?
perfect.
Because I remember like they have signs up for like Winterfest and things like that, or like Winter
No, there's
Carnival.
literally no snow in this movie. I mean, how could when was the movie shot then? Because like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what
weather
was
in
thinking.
general is like specific. So
I know Seattle gets fucking cold as shit
Yeah,
over
because
there.
it's like
so-
super high north, right? It's like near the ocean, so
yeah,
I never saw one person wear a snow jacket in that entire movie.
you know they were all wearing like t-shirts.
Let's go to the Ferris wheel and have fun with our not.
Yeah, why was that open in the winter?
So stupid.
Why was the boardwalk open in the winter? That doesn't make any sense.
How come I can't see their breath? It's literally 0 degrees.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't
You would
think about it
think-
during the
you would-
movie.
You would think that there's like Light's whole thing was that he like almost drowned. I don't know how long he was in the water, but it must have been freezing. He could have possibly died of like hypothermia.
All right, well, okay, so they're at the homecoming dance, and like, oh,
Yeah, then he's gonna
Light-
burn Watanabe's page while he's there.
yeah.
And then he finds out, he's like, the page is missing. And then he's like, oh, Mia took the page. And then
And
she's
Shove
like,
some kid out
It
the
turned-
way.
Yeah.
yeah, and
and
she's like, well, I took the page because, like, you know, you were gonna burn it, and that's totally lame. And plus, I wrote your name in the book, because you're gonna die unless you give me the book. And it's like, okay, I guess that's kind of interesting. Stupid, but I guess kind of interesting. But what's stupid is she writes his name in the book, right? But she leaves it in the book. She doesn't, like, take the page with her. Because, like, I thought that was going to be, like, the whole plot point of, like, he has to give her the book because otherwise she won't reveal where the page is. But then he opens the book and it's right there. Yeah, no, it's stupid because she leaves his name she leaves the page in the book for some reason. It's like, so why doesn't he just like, burn the page right there and then just have her commit suicide?
Oh, I don't know.
Like what in her mind is like, yeah, he won't do that. And then that leads to a stupid freaking like car chase.
Yeah,
Slash
Elle chases
alleyway.
Light. Yeah. There's this whole convoluted chase scene where Elle's chasing Light, and he's got this stupid-looking gun with him.
Literally the gun from Blade Runner.
It's the fucking Blade Runner gun. I don't get it. It's the silver Blade Runner gun. Why does he have that? It's weird because it's like it's in a briefcase, and it's like, why? It's got like all this foam around it. It's like perfectly fits in. It's like, why does this gun exist?
It's fucking
Why couldn't you
James
just use the
Bond gun.
Glock or anything?
I bet if he it's like the portal gun from like Rick and Morty, where like I bet if he shot him, it would actually like send him to another dimension. And, okay, so Elle has him at gunpoint, and then some random Kira guy comes in, goes like, "Hail Kira," and beats him over the head with a piece like a 2x4.
I will admit, I really like that decision. Like, cause like before that, like Light is like, what if you could hand over the power to kill people in a calculus book? And then Elle's like, what the hell are you even talking about? And then the Kira supporter shows up and it hits him in the head because he finds out, like, he overhears that he's Kira. Which, I honestly like the fact that the Kira supporter actually does something, because, like, it's mainly something that never really happens in, like, the TV series. Is, like, we never really see interactions with, like, Kira supporters outside of, like, the Delete guy and the one lady from, like, the second, like, half of the series. But never, like, just some Randy who doesn't really have, like, a big role in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Did we never see him again? They probably died. But
Yeah.
then like what does he do after that? He goes to like the Ferris wheel. Or,
Yeah,
like,
because he tells Mia to meet him at the Ferris wheel.
Because he had this whole plan where the Ferris wheel is gonna break. He's like, oh, I'm gonna survive the Ferris wheel crash.
Yeah, because he goes up in the Ferris wheel with Mia, and she's like, "Give me my fucking book." He's like, "Listen, do you love me? Because if you love me, we can stop all this. We can run away there. We can be together. We can forget all this. We can leave it all behind." And then she's like, "I do love you." And then she takes the book, and then literally the most comedy thing happens. Like, the music just cuts out, and then she's like, "You wrote my name in the book?" And it's like, "I didn't think you would actually take it." It's like, it's such a weird shift in tone that it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's really funny the way she said it, because she went like, "You wrote my name in the book, didn't you?" It's like, yeah, I guess I kind of did.
And they
I
all
didn't
act
think
like,
you'd take it.
oh, it's so dumb because like they're all acting like flustered and everything, and it's just so comical though.
No, like it's the calmness on the way she said that, and then the follow-up thing, "Are you kidding me?" It's really funny.
And yeah, and then freaking Ryuk is like standing off the side on top of like some like carny thing pulling down the freaking like Ferris wheel.
Yeah, so the Ferris wheel just breaks, I guess. I guess no one else was on it, hopefully.
No
But
one
yeah.
else was on it because they were closing it.
Yeah, and then the two of them fall off, and this whole pretentious thing where they're falling in slow-mo, you see their faces, the music's swelling, this weird love song that's so out of place. And then Mia falls into like a bed of roses.
Yeah,
like,
an explosion of flowers.
and Light falls into the ocean, even though it doesn't look like he was gonna fall into the ocean whatsoever.
He falls and the ocean dies of
It
hypothermia.
looks like he was just gonna fall into the boardwalk. I don't know how
It
he
did.
moved his body so much to like he can like fall in the ocean, because the Ferris wheel's a bit away from the ocean.
Then he was saved by a combined group of pedophiles, rapists, and murderers.
Yeah. So yeah, Light turns out to be in a coma, and people don't like Elle because like, oh, how can Light have done all this but Light's in a coma, how can he still be killing people?
Like, all I really remember is, yeah, like, before Light goes in this whole chase scene, he writes a bunch of names in the book. And then that becomes a plot point at the very end. Because, yeah, like, all these people are dying while Light's in a coma. And then Light wakes up from his coma when his, like, right before his dad knocks on his hospital door. Which, for one, like, why did his dad knock on his door when he's been in a coma for 2 days? Is he like, well, if my son doesn't answer, I'm just not gonna visit him?
My knock is gonna wake my son up from his coma.
Yeah.
It's polite. I'm sorry.
And then it turns out the dad finds out that he's Kira.
Yeah, because
he found
Light
out-
tells him.
Yeah.
And then
then-
it gives like a really ending that no one understands.
Yeah, it's really vague for no reason because like L he breaks into Light's house, he gets the calculus book, and it turns out there were pages like people's names on it.
Wait, whose house did he go into?
He went to
Mia's
Light's house. Oh wait,
No,
it was
Mia's house because she
Mia's
took
Where the fuck is her
calculus.
parents?
That's what I thought too. I was like, did she just live alone? Is that how edgy she is?
First off, I don't wait. Maybe she locked her door. I'll give her that. Maybe, but like it just felt really weird that he just smashed her door. I was like, wait a minute.
But yeah, no, it's this really vague ending where like L has the page. He's like, oh, I'm up to your game, Light, and it's like, oh, he's gonna write his name in it, but he's like, he doesn't.
Yeah,
And then Ryuka's like, oh, you humans are so interesting, and then it just stops.
yeah, and the movie just ends there, and it's like, oh, okay.
Here are some bloopers.
Yeah, there's bloopers during the credits. I was like, this is weird.
You don't get
Alright.
bloopers if you're this bad.
I like how in the bloopers they have visual proof that's like, yeah, we took what's his face and motion captured it.
Willem Dafoe,
Yeah,
yeah.
Willem Dafoe. They motion capture his face, but it's like,
We
why
didn't
did
see his
you do
face at
that?
all.
Yeah, you see his face like 2 or 3 times.
But like it's still like really dark and in the shadow, so you don't get like a full feature of it.
Yeah,
You don't get to see all of it.
there's only like twice where his face is like
Oh,
fully
yeah.
like revealed, but even then it's still in the shadows a little bit.
Oh, whatever. This movie's a train wreck.
It was
All
bad.
right, so that was the Death Note movie, 2017. It's perfect,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It was pretty fun. Like I know, as bad as it was, I had a fun time. I watched it like 3 times. 2
Yeah.
times, like I could debate whether it was legal.
I watched it twice. Yeah,
I watched it once with like 6 other people.
that
that
seems like a good time to watch it, just with a
That
bunch
seems
of
like
people.
fun.
All right, so this movie holds a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. So you guys think it's that bad?
I think a 44% is fair. Honestly,
I feel like that's
think
very accurate.
Yeah, if anything, I'd give it a little bit lower. Not like much lower. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't deserve anything less than a 30%, but
I don't know. It's like Rotten Tomatoes is like. I know it's not actually like a review site, but
Yeah.
like, I'd probably. Would you say this was better than Batman v Superman?
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think.
it was shorter.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess 44 is fine.
Yeah, I guess out of like, if I had to like rate it out of like 5, I guess 2, because like there were some competent shots here and there, and I don't know, there's some decisions they made were like, oh, that's all right. But pretty much it was just like the whole film was just, and it's this sort of edgy kind of feel to it, and I don't know, man.
It just felt really mediocre overall.
Exactly.
Like, it wasn't terrible. It just
It's like it left you wondering why this existed.
yeah.
Know what anime series, like, we need to stop with all these like fantastical kind of like anime series. Make like one of the ones that are like more human. That's why I keep saying every time, just make a fucking monster TV series or movie, and
that'd
it
be
would
cool,
work.
actually.
It would work because everyone there, except for the main character, is a fucking white woman or white guy. So you don't have to worry about whitewashing. And if you just want an Asian, with the main character's Asian, but just get the fucking dude from Walking Dead, and then everyone will shut up. Damn, I gave you an idea. I give you gold, but you don't ever take it. Damn it.
Damn you, Hollywood! You're not listening to Mars.
Take my ideas. They're great.
Oh man.
At least it wasn't longer than like 100
Yeah,
minutes.
that is something I can appreciate about it. It didn't waste my time. It felt like a very easy watch.
Yeah, very much so, actually.
So you guys want to watch Write Your Name in a Death Note as well?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, well,
Death
give me the
by
Death Note.
decapitation, please.
Death by bullying.
Set me up a ladder.
Thanks for watching the Half and Half podcast. I've been your host, Glum Walker. We got Slayerrunes here
What up?
Go subscribe.
and MarsReviews.
Go away.
All right, so we'll see you next time, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Have fun.